Welcome to Uncloaked Illusions. I'm Chris Anthony, and I wanted to share a little perspective. Today I was in a coffee shop. Of course, the newspapers after a certain time are free for the taking, and I picked up one of the newspapers, and something that caught my attention is one of the articles was a violent week in the metro area. A deadly Mardi Gras was just the beginning, and it kind of highlights ranging from the 11th of February to I believe, the 18th of February of all the shootings that occurred and the fatalities. And mind you, I'm going to go through a little of this and give perspective on it. Also kind of correlated with the debate with Tariq Nasheed and also Jared Taylor, and there was one point that was made, which was the black on black crime. And instead of Tariq Nasheed kind of acknowledging that this is the case and then giving or presenting an argument that would point out this is why it became this way, this is what produced this high rate of violence in the black community. Instead, he completely denied that any of this was factual. Okay, February 11th, 33-year-old man shot. A 33-year-old man was critically wounded after New Orleans police say he was shot while getting out of a vehicle on Caffin Avenue. That's around the vicinity that I live in. February 13th, two teens shot along Parade Route. A teen was in critical condition after being shot in the head near the Mardi Gras Parade Route at Carondelet and Union Streets on Tuesday, and another teen was in stable condition with a gunshot wound to the leg, New Orleans police said. That's also an area that I'm familiar with, in the Uptown area, I believe. February 13th, man shot and killed along Parade Route. A man later identified as Marcus Williams was shot and killed Tuesday afternoon near the intersection of 2nd Street and St. Charles Avenue along the Parade Route. Familiar with that area as well. February 13th, Mardi Gras mass shooting. 5 people were shot, including 2 killed in the Lower 9th Ward on Tuesday night. I live in the Lower 9th Ward. New Orleans police reported 1 man died on scene and another man died on the way to a hospital, said police. 3 others were being treated at local hospitals. A red Nissan Altima was seen at a gas station in the 100 block of St. Claude Avenue with shattered windows and more than a dozen bullet holes in the driver's door and flat front tires. Familiar with this particular incident. Actually was passing home when I saw this area quarantined and pretty much taped off from the public. Okay, February 13th, Michigan man shot in Harvey. A Michigan man was shot in the leg through the car door, according to the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. Okay, don't give you much information on this particular incident, but I'll move on. February 13th, a great deal of shootings happened on the 13th. Kenner party turns violent. A Kenner man is accused in a Mardi Gras shooting after he retrieved a gun that discharged, injuring both himself and his partner. Now this one is, mind you, I'm just making the joke out of it, but no one being shot is anything that one should laugh at or find humorous. During a fight sparked, get this, a fight that was sparked by a lack of food for guests, according to Kenner police. Alex Moore, 46, was arrested after He was treated at a local hospital for a gunshot wound to his right hand. According to the Kenner Police Department, Moore's 55-year-old romantic partner was treated for a gunshot wound to his left arm, police said. The shooting was reported at 6:22 p.m. at the Pelican Bay Apartments in the 2100 block of the 42nd Street. Mind you, gay guys. Nothing against gay people whatsoever. I'm just noticing how they don't acknowledge certain things for whatever reason. And you'll also notice me reading some of these incidents of how certain indications are completely abolished. They're left out. February the 14th, Central City killing. A 40-year-old man became the fourth person to be fatally shot within 24 hours in New Orleans on Wednesday morning. The Orleans Parish Coroner's Office later identified the man as Vincent Hayes, 40 years old. Okay, February 15th, man suffers gunshot to the head. A man was shot in the head early Thursday morning in Central City, New Orleans, police said. The victim was found about a block from the scene of a fatal shooting less than 24 hours earlier. Okay. February 15th, RTA bus shooting. So this actually happened on the RTA Transit bus in New Orleans. In the Lower Ninth Ward, by the way, the area that I live in. A gunman got onto a New Orleans Regional Transit Authority bus late Thursday night while passengers were on board and ordered the bus's 51-year-old driver to keep driving. He then opened fire, leaving the driver with a graze wound to his arm, according to police and transit officials. Okay. So they also point out that authorities say the gunman, identified as 30-year-old Demetrius Polk, then fled the bus and threatened to kill a woman, her husband, and a child inside a home on Flood Street in the Lower Ninth Ward, according to a news release issued Friday morning by the New Orleans Police Department. Polk was quickly arrested outside that particular home. Okay. February 16th, woman killed, man injured. A woman was killed in a double shooting Friday night near the intersection of Pager and North Villeray Streets. New Orleans police reported. I've heard of this. I've heard of this street before. I just don't know if it's in the Lower Ninth Ward or is it somewhere in Mid-City. But I think it's the Lower Ninth Ward. It sounds familiar. February 17th, midday Treme double shooting. 2 people were shot dead Saturday at midday in the Treme neighborhood. New Orleans police said both victims were male and appeared to have been wounded in the upper body. The Orleans Parish Coroner's Office later identified one of the men as 50-year-old Ronald Hawkins. Okay, February 17th. Man shot in Warehouse District. A 26-year-old man was shot Saturday afternoon in the Warehouse District, according to New Orleans police. The man was brought by a private vehicle to a hospital where he told police he had been shot in the 800 block of Magazine Street, according to police. Okay, 800 block. That's uptown for the most part. Or is it uptown? No, that would actually... Yeah, that is like going into the uptown area. And February 18th, fight turns deadly. Another fight turning deadly. A 21-year-old man was shot to death on North Broad Street in New Orleans early Sunday, NOPD said. The Orleans Parish Coroner's Office later identified the victim as Troy Wilson Jr. So, okay, This is within a 5-day period. Over 21 people were shot, and I believe about 7 or 8 were the shootings were fatal. Now, I was looking at the statistics, and this particular article is called 7 Statistics That You Need to Know About Black on Black Crime. One, data shows that 93% of black homicide victims are killed by other blacks. The left's rebuttal is that 84% of white homicide victims are killed by other whites. But the Wall Street Journal's Jason Riley points out that the white crime rate is much lower than the black rate. According to Riley, blacks commit violent crimes at 7 to 10 times the rate that whites do. Okay, blacks committed 52% of the homicides between 1980 and 2008. And this was 10 years ago. So you can just imagine how that 52% is probably about 57 or maybe 60% now, maybe even more than that. I'm going to read on because it may point that out. Despite composing just 13% of the population, across the same time frame, whites committed 45% of homicide while composing 77% of the population, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Here are some more statistics from the FBI. In 2013, the FBI has black criminals carrying out 38% of all murders, compared to 31.1% of whites. The offender's race was unknown in 29% of cases. Okay, black crime is even more prevalent in the country's largest cities and counties. Okay. Oh, moving on. There were almost 6,000 blacks killed by other blacks in 2015. And this is 2015. We're not even counting 2016, 2017. The percentage of blacks arrested for crimes is consistent with police reports. Okay. I'm going to have this in the description box below. According to Riley, black crimes rate were lower in the 1940s and 1950s when black poverty was higher and racial discrimination was rampant and legal. Okay, according to MacDonald, a straight line can be drawn between family breakdown and youth violence, and that does highlight some things with the black crime rates being low between the 1940s and 50s when poverty was higher. It's a discussion I had with my dad that I was pointing out that, you guys came up in poverty-stricken times as well, and you actually had family units, so there was structure, there was morals, there were standards that were implemented in you guys. So there really is no excuse. The only fact is that the breakdown of the family is a primary driving force behind the massive amount of crime that's being committed by black people and the black on black crime. Now, data tells us that, again, 93% of homicides is black people committing or crime or killing black people being committed. Also, black men are committing crime, being incarcerated, murdering, or being murdered in magnitudes higher than representation of the population. This is an epidemic, and this should be treated as an epidemic due to public safety, public health, etc. There's a great deal of omission of the accurate numbers from the FBI statistics. I also strongly believe that if it's a democratically run city or democratically run county or state, for the most part, a great deal of these numbers are suppressed because it does not benefit them for these these crime rates to be high in those particular communities that they make all of these empty promises to, and they can't deliver, because again, the only thing they're interested in is getting the vote. But I make this video and make these points only to kind of combat the foolery that was being presented in that debate between Tariq Nasheed and Jared Taylor. And I feel like that was an opportunity to acknowledge the fact that black on black crime is rampant. But here is the reasons that this could have metastasized to this point of where it is. To acknowledge that something doesn't exist when it really does, it's just literally allowing it to continue to perpetuate itself and nothing to change. No solution to create a resolution. And give me your comments. Let me know how you feel about this. This, again, what I just pointed out with the shootings between the 11th and the 18th. This is going on in New Orleans. This happened during the end of the Mardi Gras season, and it kind of continued on beyond Mardi Gras. And this is just in New Orleans alone. And again, this is just what's been reported. There are many homicides and black on black crime that happens in New Orleans that doesn't even get reported. And I'm quite sure if it's like that in New Orleans, it's probably like that throughout the entire country in any urban populated cities that's primarily black. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, so when I do a video, you guys can get the notice, and you can check it out. You can give me your feedback on it. You can even share your statistics, your research, and point some things out to me as well that I may be missing. Again, leave your comments. You can email me at UncloakedIllusion@gmail.com. I'll leave it in the description box below. And if you have any stories or any articles that you want me to overlook and give perspective on, and induce a little bit of my philosophy, I say send it to me, and I will definitely consider it and report on it if that's what you want. Again, I have some things going on that are coming up, and I do appreciate the subscribers and the people who are sharing the videos. Let's continue to share the video, and let's get this truth to circulate so people can actually start to wake up and take that red pill if necessary. Get out of that matrix system where everything is just propagated to them, and they just kind of take it and run with it, and they don't put any kind of research in whatever stories that they allow themselves to feed into. I am Chris Anthony, and I am out.